More. Gautam, good morning. Now, in a short while from now, the Prime Minister will be landing in Rio de Janeiro to attend the G20 Summit. Get us more as to what would be the priorities for India, talk of India's participation as a Troika member. What all do we expect?
Greeting from Rio, where we are right now waiting, where Prime Minister Modi will be staying during the 2 days that he'll be attending the G20 summits in Rio. And we have a lot of people of Indian origin who've gathered here from all over Brazil, really. They've come from Sao Paulo, from Manaus. And of course, there are a few families, about 40, 50 odd families in Rio itself. And they've come here to greet Prime Minister Modi because they see a great affinity not just for the country but for the leader as well. And if you ask about India's priorities, they're very clear in terms of how India wants that all the sustainable development goals be achieved by the time it is designated to be achieved, that is by 2030. And if it only happens if the world's economy, all the world's economies grow at a certain pace that India has been keeping itself being the fastest growing large economy in the world, fastest growing G20 country in the world. So if you want to eliminate poverty and hunger, which is one of the goals, a global alliance is going to be launched tomorrow to achieve this from Rio. Brazil has been pursuing this goal for quite some time and is very close to its heart, and so it is India's. But if it is a goal that needs to be achieved, then economic growth is the only way forward, and this is going to be India's emphasis to a large extent, apart from ensuring that conflicts are addressed in an effective manner.
All right, Gautam, you're there at the hotel awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister, and behind you I see anxious faces there waiting for their Prime Minister, flashing the flags of India. Get us more as to, you must have interacted, what are their expectations, what is the level of the excitement? If possible, ask your camera person to show a pan view, so that we can gauge the excitement and the enthusiasm there.
Well, it's certainly, I am the camera person myself, so I can just take you through, what kind of excitement has built up over here. Look at these people, they are gathered here in large numbers. You can see right behind me. There they are. They're all here to greet Prime Minister Modi. You can see they've been aligned in a U-shape around. And in the anticipation of Prime Minister's arrival, there's some Dandiya and Garba also happening from Prime Minister's home state, Gujarat. These ladies have been preparing from different cities in Brazil online for the past few weeks, and now all that is coming to fruition. We also have plans of Vedic shlokas being chanted. There are students of Brazilian Acharya here, and these are Brazilian students who will be reciting Vedic, a musical presentation of Vande Mataram 2. That is good. Happen. So a lot prepared in a very short span of time by these people of individuals here in Rio.
All right, Gautam. Now, this will be for the first time that Brazil is organizing the G20 summit. Added to that, also the African Union will be participating at the forum. Help us understand what kind of discussions or what kind of participation do we expect from the G20 summit this time around, when we talk of how the forum has further been strengthened with the participation of the African Union, with the inclusion of African Union now?
So when it comes to increasing the weight of the global south, that has happened in a very, very dramatic manner because of the inclusion of the African Union. These are 55 African countries which will be represented by the African Union this time as a full-time member. And that adds a weight to the voice of the global south when it comes to ensuring that there is climate justice, because G20 also becomes a major forum to ensure that a sense of direction can be given for COP29 in Baku for it, which is being expected because it is a big issue, climate justice, climate financing, and we believe that things are getting a bit stuck in Baku as well because of that. So some sort of a direction is expected from G20 as well in Rio. And apart from that, there are issues of global financing, issues related to accumulation of debt, which the global south has had to face. A lot of these countries have had a very tough time economically in recent times because of the kind of debt that is accumulated. And that is also something that is being sought to be addressed through this forum too.
All right, Gautam, G20 was founded in 1999 and it was founded basically as an economic grouping, and eventually it saw, it has now been organized as a summit level forum. Get us more as to over the years, how has G20 evolved, and when we talk of its importance on the global page, what does it offer, and how does the world look at the G20 summit?
Well, it is because of the timing that it is happening and the kind of issues that the world is facing at this time, that a gathering of world leaders of this sort of a stature, the world's 20 biggest economies, becomes of critical interest because people are looking to find answers to how the world and these powerful countries respond to what is happening, not just in Ukraine, not just in Gaza, not just on the climate front, but also on ensuring that the cost of living crisis also addressed the fact that inflation has still been around, and although it has started moderating in certain countries like the US, it is still going strong in others. So these are issues, and people are looking for solutions when there is a lot of political change happening all across the world as well. More than 70 countries going through democratic process and change through that in the regime as well. So in a state of flux, the world quite a lot in this particular in 2024, which is why the people have a certain amount of uncertainty as well that they're dealing with. And they're looking for some clear direction from the G20 on a wide range of subjects, like I mentioned, some of them, these conflicts, climate change, financing, and of course, when we talk about looking for answers to almost perpetual problems like hunger and poverty, these are some of the things that the world is looking at, that the leaders together, they will form a consensus on how to make progress on these fronts.
All right, Gautam. Also, India hosted the G20 summit last year, and it is also part of the G20 Troika along with Brazil and South Africa. For the benefit of our viewers, very quickly, just get us a quick gist of the, of how significant was the G20 summit organized by India last year, and will there be any more carry forwards that will be taken up in the G20 this year?
Yes, well, certainly. I mean, the G20 summit that took place in India was on an unprecedented scale, really. So many events taking place all around the year, which culminated in September last year in the G20 summit. And another landmark moment was that on the first day itself, the Delhi Declaration had come out, because it took a lot of time, a lot of tough negotiations, but ultimately a consensus was delivered on even contentious issues with Ukraine. Remember that the Gaza conflict and what followed after that in West Asia wasn't even on the map at that time around. So in terms of carrying forward the spirit of the Delhi Declaration, even Brazil has been talking about that, because Brazil, to a large extent, is a plurilateral partner of India as well. In BRICS, it's already there. There is IPSA, and in G22, since India was the host preceding year, they were all part of a troika, including South Africa. So a lot of these issues are being taken forward in the kind of approach that is to be taken to even address issues of hunger and poverty, which is, of course, a global alliance is being announced tomorrow. It will be launched to address the issue of hunger and poverty around the world. And for instance, India's spirit of taking the digital route to addressing these issues, that will also be part and parcel of the solution this time around.
Yes, Gautam. Also, when we talk of India's participation at the forum, get us more on that, added to that, how India is being seen as the voice of Global South, how important is that? And as a forum, G20, how much space or how much, opportunities does it provide for India to emerge as the voice of the Global South?
Well, that is what India has been talking about. It has brought the Global South together within India as well in the past, and it has emerged as an effective voice of the Global South because of the way it has been putting across all these issues that we've been talking about. By Prime Minister Modi saying it's not the end of war, because the countries that are affected the most because of any conflict, especially like the one in Ukraine or the one in West Asia, are the ones in the Global South. If you talk about climate change, who's the worst affected? It is the Global South. They have to bear the brunt of the onslaught of the uncertainties, whether extreme weather events. And they're the ones who are short of resources as well. So all these issues India has been putting forth, it's not just been pointing at problems, it's been pointing to way to solutions as well. It's also demonstrated how these solutions can be brought about by leveraging the digital power that India has, the kind of digital public infrastructure that India has set up. So it's not just about stating the problem and expecting that other people will give answers. India says that the global south can provide its own answers to its own problems as long as everybody enables it, helps it along as well. That is all the help that the global south really needs. It has the capability. It just needs to be enabled to a certain extent through finance, through know-how, sharing technology, and all that is something that India has been voicing for the global south consistently for several years now.
Yes, Gautam, also when we talk of the priorities for the leaders at the G20 summit, climate change, climate talks will be an important aspect of the G20 summit in Rio, given the stalemate that was seen at COP29. Help us understand what options, or really is there a breakthrough insight when we talk of these discussions on climate at the G20?
Well, yes, we are in fact in a situation where there were reports emerging that things are getting stuck in Baku because of the kind of deal that is being drawn up as far as climate financing is concerned and the manner in which it should be dispersed. Earlier, it used to be, the talk used to be of $100 billion a year. Now it's being raised to $1 billion. That's what is the figure that's emerging. And in terms of financing, how this money should be given out, because the global south, a lot of these developing countries want that this is the money which should be given in grants or in similar means, whereas the developed countries, they want to loan the money, although it will be a subvented kind of a loan. There will be a very low interest rate, but still, it will be a loan which will have to be returned. And the developing countries are saying that this is not fair because the polluters should be paying, and these are legacy producers that we're talking about, polluters that we're talking about, I'm sorry. And countries like the US, it's the biggest legacy polluter in the world. It may not be the biggest polluter in the world now. That is a place that has been overtaken by China. But a legacy polluter in the world is still the US. And with the political change that has come in the US, one is again uncertain as to what extent would President-elect Donald Trump be willing to bear that responsibility going forth the next 4 years. So all these issues are leading to uncertainties on how the climate battle will be fought in the coming years, which is what is happening in Baku. And they're looking for direction from Rio in terms of all the G20 leaders gathering here.
All right, Gautam, just a while back we talked of how G20 has evolved, but then when we talk of the G20 countries together as a grouping, they account for, close to 85% of the world economy. Added to that, they also are the largest contributors to the, multilateral development banks, helping to steer climate finance. Put all this together, get us more as to how strong or influential is the G20 grouping of the countries on the global page.
Well, certainly it is extremely significant because it's not always that all these leaders are able to come together at one particular place from all corners of the world. Look at Prime Minister Modi. He has in fact traveled from Abuja over here, and he will further be going to Georgetown too. So quite a journey there, and these are the kind of efforts that are required to ensure that there is concerted action that takes place in all these fronts, and the world is willing to make those efforts as well. And we hope that there will be progress on multiple fronts here, because that's the kind of sentiment that is being carried by the leaders and their teams.
All right.